And as Mark Henry was marching down to the ring, Ryback's music hits, and Ryback doesn't even wait for the match to be, officially sanctioned with a bell ring. He just goes down, and him and Henry start trading blows. And Ryback gets the upper hand fairly quickly, and he just beats the holy hell out of Mark Henry before they cut to another commercial. I mean, he was ramming his head into the security barricade, and yeah, he was just mauling Henry before they cut to the commercial and we get back to the official match. Henry looked totally out of sorts, and yeah, Ryback was just feasting all over Mark Henry here.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryback was clearly angry, and this match was like 3 minutes, if that. This was a quickie, man.
Yeah, it was. Ryback dominated here because he gets Mark Henry back in the ring, and again, Mark Henry clearly looks disoriented. And I think Mark Henry may have only gotten a little bit of offense before he gets spine-bustered. Ryback signals for the meat hook, gets a good feed me more rally a chance going, hits the meat hook, and I'm thinking, oh, great, we're going to bounce back from him being the first guy eliminated at Survivor Series on Team Cena. We're going to get that great imagery of a huge shell shock. No, Ryback goes straight for the cover off the meat hook, and he gets the win. Very interesting booking of Ryback action over the past 24 hours.
Well, do you not remember their feud? Ryback, anytime he would go for shell-shocked, Mark Henry doesn't have the athletic ability to jump onto Ryback's shoulders off of 1 foot. So they stopped using shell-shocked, and they started just saying that the meat hook clothesline was enough to put Mark Henry away because they stopped, like they were incapable, like they were literally unable to use the shell shock. Like he did it one time, and that was the WrestleMania moment after the match was already over.
Right.
So
yeah, Ryback gets the win. Feed Me More rolls on. And then, after that we get a segment with Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and Vince McMahon. Stephanie apologizes for letting Vince down and making him angry. Vince notes, no, Stephanie, I'm not angry. I really don't get angry about anything. What I am is disappointed. I put insurmountable odds in front of you, and, that's what you got to face in the corporate world. That's why I did it. I wanted to see if you were up to snuff, so to speak, ready to really take charge. And you let me down. You failed your task. And then, he said if anything makes him angry, it's that, his daughter's before him apologizing and acting like she's sorry. And she says, well, she really is sorry. And Vince says, he pretty much laughs at them and he yells and he says, I don't believe it. You're full of crap. And the only thing I'm sorry about is the fact that I have to spend Thanksgiving with you guys. But one other thing he said, which kind of made me raise an eyebrow a little bit, he said, I know you guys are going to find a way to fix this.
Yeah, that was definitely curious.
Yeah, I'm wondering how Triple H and Stephanie are gonna, get back in this, because remember, and see, that's the interesting thing here. Vince says, I know you guys are gonna find a way to fix it. Last night's Survivor Series, he made it explicitly clear the only person who can give you your power back is John Cena. How do all of these elements tie together? That's my big question.
Do you think we're going to get a Cena heel turn, John? I mean, really?
No, dude, I wasn't even trying to insinuate that at all. I'm posing the very innocent question of I'm wondering how this is all going to tie together, because you're talking about leaving the power of, really, kayfabe speaking, the ultimate heels on the product, the authority figures, in the hands of, in their minds again, the ultimate babyface. So how do you reconcile that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are they going to get John Cena to say, okay, I'll entertain the notion of giving you your power back? Because I think you'd have to make it a real stretch for me to buy that. Because, see, you can't even say that they would appeal to his pride or anything, because I don't think Cena would be, at least in my mind, I don't think he would risk everything that his team did at Survivor Series on his own personal pride if they tried goading him into this thing. So I'm really curious how they're going to make it all work.
Yeah. It's, I'm not going to touch that with a 30-foot pole, man. I don't have any opinion on what's going to happen to save the authority. I'm just along for the ride at this point.
I am as well. I'm going to let this take its natural course. So with that said, they drive off into the night on this subject, and so too will we, because up next was our Intercontinental Championship match, Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper. A pretty good match, for a television championship match. Good back and forth between these guys. I love just how Ambrose can get a crowd going, and Luke Harper's offense, for as big as he is, I don't think it's really worn on me. Even now, it's just always impressive to watch. And I like the chemistry between these two. I mean, what did you think, Ashton?
Oh yeah, this was a solid match. I really like how they were just kind of trying to out crazy each other. Like Harper would make this ridiculous crazy face with his eyes bugging out, and then they would you see Ambrose and he would be doing his weird little dance thing that he does, and yeah, they're just two ridiculous, eccentric performers that are better than most people.
Absolutely. Great back and forth offense. You know, one maneuver that I really love from Dean Ambrose is that elbow drop that he does while the opponent is standing.
Yeah.
That's a great image there. And really, Dean Ambrose, towards the tail end of the match, seemed like he was in control, was really in the driver's seat, was hooking Harper in for dirty deeds, but Harper's able to hook his feet on one of the ropes and uses that momentum to shove Dean into the referee. So I guess because Dean made physical contact, Luke Harper wins by DQ, but then Dean is like, screw it, if it's already over, and then, they continue to brawl and fight it out. And Dean regains the advantage after a little bit because Harper seemed like he was really going to do damage, but Dean prevented it. And then he starts to begin the process of burying Luke in chairs when Bray Wyatt emerges.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt just beat the crap out of Ambrose. He attacked him from behind and clobbered him over the head with a forearm smash, beat him down a little bit, and then he kind of buried him under announcer desk chairs with kind of emulating what Wyatt did to him last night with the regular steel chairs.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Wyatt's clearly, and you know what? I do want to say, this was a really great moment for Bray Wyatt because he got pretty well universally booed for this.
Yeah, that's probably one of the rare occasions where I've heard Bray universally loathed by an audience.
Yeah.
It's an interesting phenomenon. And you know what? For this particular feud, I hope it's something we see more of. Because, I don't want to see either of these guys sync with this program. We already know that Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt is getting the TLC stipulation, which is actually great for two reasons. Because A, for me, I think they could put on a terrific match. And B, at least in my personal opinion, that seems to suggest to me this may not be the only TLC match we get this year. So, we'll have to see how that all unfolds. But yeah, good stuff. Both of these guys know how to use their weapons. And Bray got a little bit of revenge tonight after Survivor Series, so that was pretty much the segment there. And we come back and we get Big E's vignette for A New Day again. Pretty much the same vignette as I believe last week.
Yeah.
And then our next segment, which me and Ash are going to try and get through as quickly as possible, Santino Marella and Larry the Cable Guy appear on the stage.
I mean, look, here's my thing. I appreciate the visual of Larry the Cable Guy with his shirt off with a freaking Rey Mysterio mask on, because he didn't even need to say anything, and that just looked funny. I laughed at the sight of that. But then he started talking, and my face immediately went just stone-faced.
Right.
Because he's not, he's supposed to be a stand-up comic, but he's not funny.
Yeah, he really, really is. And that's not even me trying to be mean or whatever. I just don't do his particular brand of humor. He said he gave up a colonoscopy to be here tonight, and I just really wanted it to end. And really, Santino didn't even get that much of a pop upon returning. He said he missed everybody, but they didn't even really seem to receive Santino.
If this would have been in Chicago, he would have been universally cheered. Huge pop. It would have been amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I feel like the smart fans appreciate Santino's comedy more than the casual fans.
I would agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment. They work Randy Savage into a joke because Larry said he once beat up Savage.
Yeah, see, that made me uncomfortable because it's like Larry didn't even realize that Randy's dead.
Yeah. And then finally we get saved by the unlikeliest duo to do such a task.
GoldStar.
GoldStar in a tag team championship rematch against Miz and MizDow. And yeah, I'm just loving how they're working this whole Miz and MizDow thing. Oh, and by the way, before it slips my mind, Ashton did call it. he said that he would love if MizDow came out with replica tag team championship belts while Miz got to carry the real ones, and they did just that. So, I gotta say, I think MizDow has been the best advertiser for WWE's championship replica belt toys ever, because he's done it with the U.S. title, he did it with the Intercontinental title, and now he's doing it with the tag titles. So,
Yep.
Crazy stuff.
Absolutely. And hey, guess what? We got a tag team match between these two, and because of MizDow, they retain the titles.
They do, and you know what? I love the story they told here of again, there were slight teases about MizDow getting the tag at first, so they did that whole thing. But then they took it one step further, because there was a point in the match where Miz was taken out, and protecting that moneymaker and all that, and MizDow was pretty much by himself, and he had things incredibly well in hand. In fact, to the point where at one moment in the match, he had the figure 4 on Stardust, and Goldust broke it up. And what I love is that Stardust hit his disaster kick, and it didn't even seem like though he was going to win the match off that. They didn't make it seem like MizDow, to me, was beat when Miz still stole the tag, hit the skull-crushing finale on Stardust, and as you said, Ashton, picked up the win to retain the championships. So I really loved how they treated babyface MizDow here. And then again, they did the tactic. Both of them go to opposite corners, raise their respective championships. MizDow gets the pop, Miz gets the booze. I'm loving the dichotomy they're creating here.
Yeah. Have we ever had a tag team between a babyface and a heel where they didn't hate each other?
I don't think so.
Wasn't Hell No both heels at the time?
I believe they were, yes.
Because that's a recent example I can think of that was like a strange Bedfellows thing. But
Right.
Man, this is, I don't want to say unprecedented, because nothing is ever unprecedented in wrestling, but as far as what I can remember, it is.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't ever remember anything like this taking place. And I'm just intrigued, like, what the straw is going to be to break the back of this team. It's probably going to be when they lose
the titles, yeah. Miz is going to blame MizDow. MizDow is going to backfire, and it's just going to go from there.
But the question is, I mean, who are they going to lose the tag titles to? That's of greater intrigue to me at this point.
Obviously, the Ascension. Gosh, haven't you been around for the last 3 months?
I know, right? Oh, man. So, yeah,
6 months.
That was pretty much that tag title match, and yeah, nothing more really to say about that. So again, I said after the match, they both got their respective cheers and boos.